Alright, now I'm going to teach you another technique for doing gums on your zombie teeth. The first one was a build-up technique, and now this one is going to be, we're going to sculpt gums actually, and then we're going to cast it and do a pour in it, just like we did these teeth. Using clay to build up your gums is actually a more controlled technique, and I think some people would rather do that than adding it on with a brush. So we're going to begin right now. First of all, what we always do is we remove the teeth and we add Vaseline to it. Although we are only using clay on it, when you add Vaseline, it helps the clay stick better. So I added the Vaseline. Now I'm going to add the teeth back on, and now we're going to begin sculpting. Spread this across here, and then I'm just going to manipulate it and slowly shape it into what I want. So I'm just shaving it down till I get to the thickness that I like, and I'm trying to get the edge here as close as I can to the gum line. So now I've exposed the gums underneath here. I'm going to take a tool and I'm just going to push it down so that it just goes right to the edge. And as I sculpt, I will refine tune it. So now I have it as close as I can to the gum line at the bottom here. Now I'm going to take and I'm going to start building in this little area where that the gums actually meet the teeth. Some people prefer to use dental waxes instead of clay, and that's fine too, because with dental waxes you can actually melt it and just clean it up and make it just how you want it. Now that I have the clay the thickness that I like, I'm going to press the clay against the teeth really snug like, and then I'm going to take my dental tool, this little metal tool that I have here, and I'm going to slowly carve in the gum line. Just like that. Now that I have my gum line, I'm going to press it a little bit more, just kind of soften it up a little bit, and flip it over so you can look at it as teeth and kind of get an idea of how they look. Do you want to make them a little deeper, a little bit fine-tuned, leave them like they are, whatever works for you. Alright, now that we have this, now what we're going to do is we're going to take and carve in some lines in the gums. Between all the teeth there's going to be lines. And then I'm going to take my tool, then I'm going to take my sculpting tool and I'm going to carve this part away. Because I'm going to make, it's kind of like a lip where it goes into the teeth. And we're going to use naphtha a little bit just to tone down this stuff. Just to tone down the clay a little bit so it looks a little smoother. But I'm just taking away and leaving a lip right above the teeth. And adjust as you go. Okay. Smooth it out. Now I'm going to take naphtha and a brush and I'm going to paint this, and so it smooths it all out. This takes away all my sculpture marks and everything, and like I say, we're going to keep building up and playing with this and making it look nicer. But right now I'm just trying to clean up the teeth a little bit. Soften all that clay, all those clay marks, just softening them all up. Now I'm going to take a softer brush and I'm going to press it in to where the teeth are, where the teeth and clay meet. And I'm going to start making a nice area where the teeth come out of the gums. I notice here it's a little thin, so I'm actually rolling some clay up and I'm going to add a little clay right to this edge here. And then take my sculpting tool and bring it down. Carve it in up here a little bit so it's more smooth. Like that. Make my little ridge again. Take my hard bristle. Smooth it out. Take my soft brush. Soften it so it's got round edges, not hard ones. If you want to make little areas where there's disease, you can take your sculpting tool and kind of chew it up a little bit. Just like that. Take your soft brush and push it down a little bit. Just like that. And so now we have a basic clay gum line that I can still kind of like go ahead and put some indentations in it still. I mean, that's what's nice about using clay, is that you can just go and go with this and make it as perfect as you want, because you're using clay, so everything is in your control. With a little bit of naphtha on it, and go ahead and soften those lines a little bit more, just like that. Here we go. So that's looking pretty good. I can play with it more. I mean, just slowly make it a little bit different if I want, but just for the sake of time, I am just going to go ahead and leave them like this. And then next what we're going to do is we're going to cast this in alginate, and we're going to go from there. Okay, we are going to begin casting our teeth. We're going to actually do the gums now. The same way we did these teeth, we're going to do the gums. We're going to set this in here, hold it just like we did before in another video, and press it in. The only thing I notice is that this tray is a little small. So I found another tray that I've used in the past for casting teeth like this, and so it fits actually much better. So I'm going to use this larger tray so that I know that I have room for the alginate. And now we're going to begin. First of all, we always have to do is Vaseline these teeth. We're only using Vaseline on the plaster again, not the teeth. Okay, now that our teeth are Vaselined, we're ready to mix our alginate. Now to mix our alginate, we're going to do the same thing as before. 2 scoops. I already have one in there. I just added one. And now we're going to add our water. This time, if you look, I went to 3 instead of 2 because I knew that it was going to need a little bit more because I want it to be semi-soft and not as hard as it would be for casting people's teeth. Press it against the edge when you're mixing. That breaks up all those little powder balls. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to add the teeth. Be gentle. Try not to touch them with your fingers. I'm going to press it in there. I'm going to press it in now. And remember, we're doing the teeth, but we really want to get those gums as best as we can. So I'm going to actually, now that I know where I'm at, I'm going to press this alginate up to the plaster so that I can really coat those gums. And I'm trying to make sure that it's a thick coating of alginate too on it. And so I will stay here like this for a couple minutes, and then we'll pull it out. Okay, alginate set. I'm going to take this little loop tool. I'm going to pry it away gently, just to make sure that it doesn't tear away. And lift it from the back. And slowly lift it out like that. The teeth stayed in, which is fine. First of all, I'm going to try and get the clay out, or at least as much of the clay as I can right now. Then I'll take a tweezer and I will pull those teeth out. Okay, got some tweezers. I'm going to slowly try and lift these teeth out of here. They're in there good because they're suctioned in. You have to be patient. Slowly get them out. And I remember there's 2 sections on my teeth, so I know that this comes out. Okay, I got one set out, got the little ones out here. So now I got to get the larger set out. So just slowly lift. Try not to scar the alginate. Just like that. Excellent. Those look really good. A little thin on top with the alginate, but that's okay. I can still use that. So now what I need to do is clean these teeth off and just scrape it off, and then use some naphtha and get all that clay off it really good, because you want to be able to get that that pink powder to stick to these teeth. Okay, I got gloves on, I got safety protection on my eyes, and I'm in a very well ventilated room right now, and I'm going to slowly get this clay off of here. Because we use Vaseline, it does actually help peel the clay off. As you can see, it kind of comes off pretty good. Teeth clean up really good. Get all that clay off of it. Alright, our next step is to insert these teeth into the alginate. So, what we're going to do is, we're going to set them inside here where they belong. Just have to be gentle and make sure you put them all the way in. They have to be really snug in there. So just push them in there. You're going to see a gap, because you're going to see a gap right there, and that's because that's where the pink powder is going. But I made sure that I pushed those teeth deep in their little crevice there. And now I'm going to add these teeth to it. And what that will do is, when I pour the pink powder in here, these teeth will fill in those spaces so that the pink powder doesn't slip inside there. Alright, ready to mix our pink powder. I just kind of get a guesstimation. I really don't have a exact measurement. I just pour it in, stir it up, and see what kind of consistency it is. And if it's what I like it's kind of drizzly, I think that's pretty good. Maybe a tad runnier is what I would like. A tiny little bit of liquid, because the liquid goes a long way. Now that's pretty runny. That's what I like. Now I'm going to pour it in. And I'm going to actually pour it in where the gums are. So I'm trying to drizzle it into the gums and see if I can get them deep inside there. And take my stick and kind of push it down, stretch it out. I just want to make sure that that pink powder gets inside those gum area. Okay, now I'm going to push these teeth in where they belong. It's going to run out a little bit, and that's okay. But I want to make sure those teeth are inside those spots. I'm going to let this dry for a little bit, and then I'm going to add it to my little water pressure container. Alright, this is my little water pressure can. This is actually a paint can I bought, and this is the top of it. I added some pieces and a pressure thing, and I cut the little post off here so that I can just set it in here and just add pressure. What I'm going to do is I'm going to submerge this in here with, it's got about a third water in here, and it's warm water. You put it in here, and what happens is it forces all the bubbles out through pressure, and then you get really hard gum material. So I'm going to add this to it. Nice and tight. Make sure that it's closed. Add my thing here and turn it on. Pressure goes up to about 30, and then I will be able to leave it in here for about 15-20 minutes and come back, and those gums will be nice and hard. Alright, let's open this thing up. There we go. There's definitely was more spillage on these sets of teeth. So it's a little harder to do this kind of method than the other method, which I actually like much better. As you can see from all the spillage that I had on. So it does come off. A little bit of an air bubble, but that's inside, no big deal. I'm going to smooth this out now with my Dremel, and then we'll get back to it. These were a lot harder to do than the build-up teeth, since you had a lot of spillage from the pink powder all through the back and everything, and the pink gets super hard when it's put into a pressure container. If you're on a feature film and you have to make multiple teeth for the character, because you know they do break easy, I would recommend doing a silicone mold of the teeth and then a silicone mold of the pink powder, kind of how we did with the alginate. So that's what I would recommend, but they turned out really good still. If you want to see how to paint these, please watch our teeth painting video, and please subscribe to our channel. Thank you.